In this video, we're going to look at operators, specifically arithmetic, comparison, and logical operators. So we're going to start off our code with a couple of variables. We'll just say x equals 7, and we'll assign y to equal 2. And we're going to break this up into sections. So we're first going to start with arithmetic operators. Now, arithmetic operators are just our normal math functions: add, subtract, multiply. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use our standard symbol. So for plus, we're going to use a plus. So x plus y, and our output is going to be 9. In here, I just printed out a string so we can see what's going on during our printout. So let's go ahead and run this and we can see. So I did this so that we could see it actually states x plus y equals 9. So our next arithmetic operator is going to be subtract, and we'll use the minus symbol for that. The minus symbol is the key just to the left of the plus on the keyboard. And when we run that, we're going to get x minus y equals 5. Our next function is going to be multiply. The way we multiply in Python is we use the star key. The star key is going to be above the number 8, so shift and then the 8. And we have x times y, and our output's going to be 14. Our divide function is going to be the forward slash, which is just to the left of the right shift key, or it's actually underneath the question mark on a standard keyboard. So we have x divided by y. Our output's going to be 3.5. Our next mathematical operator is going to look a little strange. It's called modulus, but it's actually the remainder. So the way this is going to look is we're going to use the percent, which is above the number 5 key on a standard keyboard, so shift 5. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us what's left over after we do a division. So for instance, we're going to go 7 divided by 2, and we know that that'll be 3, but our leftover is going to be 1. So our output from our modulus is actually going to be 1. And so now that we've got the remainder, we need to have an operator that will give us the whole number from the division. So that's going to be a floor division. And a floor division looks like 2 forward slashes, just like a standard division, but it's going to be 2 of them. And so we're going to see how many times x will go into y with no remainders. So our output is going to be 3. 2 will go into 7 3 whole times. And our last arithmetic operator is going to be an exponent. And the way we're going to do our exponent is just like we did our multiplication, but it's going to be 2 of the asterisks or stars. That's the one above the 8 key. That's going to give us 49. And basically what that is it's 7 to the second power, or 7 times 7. All right, let's move down to the comparison operators. And the comparison operators are going to give us things like greater than, less than, equal to, things like that. So let's start with greater than. And these comparison operators are going to give us a value of whether it's true or false. So for instance, we'll go back up, we'll see, remember that x is 7 and y is 2. So here, x7 is greater than y, and we know that that's true. So when we run that, x is greater than y, so that's true. Our next one will be less than, and again, this will use our standard less than symbol that we use in math. So this function is telling us as x is less than y, which we know is false. 7 is not less than 2. So we run that and we see our output is false. For our equals, we do use the equals sign. However, we need to be very careful here because we already know that one equals sign actually assigns a variable to a value. So to test whether two variables are the same, we need to use two equal signs. So here we're saying x is equal y, x is equal y, and we know that that is false as well. So let's run that. X is not equal to y. And that brings us to testing whether something is not equal to something else. And the way we do that is we use an exclamation point and an equal sign. So the way this reads is x is not equal to y. And we know that that is true. We run that and we see that x is not equal to y. We're going to do greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to is this fits the same pattern as the others. We're going to use the greater than and then we're going to use the equal sign. So we're looking at, is x greater than or equal to y? And we run that, and actually I have down here false for that. That's actually true. 7 is greater than or equal to y. And the last one that we're going to look at for our comparison is going to be less than or equal to. And we're seeing, and this needs to be changed to false. So we're looking at x is less than or equal to y. We know that 7 is not less than or equal to y. We'll run that and we see x is less than or equal to y is false. Okay, our last operator that we're going to look at are logical operators, and for that we're going to take out the code that we've done here. We're going to change our x variable to true, and we're going to change our y variable to false. And the first logical operator we're going to look at is and I'm going to put some comments in here so we can keep these straight. And test if both operands are true. So if x and y is true, it's going to output true. So the first logical operator we're going to look at is and. And is the word and that it's going to look at both variables to see if they're both the same. So x and y is looking for x to be true and y to be true. And when we print this out, we're looking at x and y, and this is going to give us false because x and y are not the same thing. If x and y were the same thing, it would put out true. So the second logical operator we're going to look at is OR. And OR is going to look at whether x or y is true. And we use that by simply typing OR. So x or y, we're going to run that. That's going to be true because x is true. If we change x to be false, so now neither of our variables are true, the output would be false. And our last one is not. And again, we're going to use the word not. And this is true if the operand is false. So it's the opposite of OR. So we'll print this out as not x. So when we run that, it's false. If we change x to be false, it puts out true. Alright, the last operators we're going to talk about in this video is assignment operators. And assignment operators allow us to do some short code and use an operator and then assign it at the same time. So our first assignment operator that we're going to use is one that we've been using this whole time, is the equals, just x equals. And this is going to assign the value of the right side expression to the left operand. So for instance, if it's going to take this value, which is on the right, and that's going to assign it to x, which we have gone over multiple times. The next one we're going to look at is add and assign. Now add and assign is going to look like this, which is x plus equal to 2, and that's equivalent to x equals x plus 2. So it's going to assign x, a variable x, to equal whatever x plus 2 is. So when we run that, we get 7, because 5 plus 2 is 7, and then it assigns it to x. So now x equals 7. Because it assigns it to x, the rest of these that I'm going to show you, I'm going to have to assign x back to the value of 5. If I don't, it's going to continue using that variable. So if I use the next assignment variable and said x minus equals 2, it's actually going to be 7 minus 2. So we don't want that. We want to keep something that stays the same. So the way this is going to look is we're going to reassign x to 5. And then we're going to do x minus equals 2, which is equivalent to assigning x 5 minus 2. When we run that, we get 3, because 5 minus 2 is 3, and now x is assigned 3. So the rest of these, because there are a lot of them, I'm just going to print them out for you. So our next one is going to be multiply and assign. And then we have a divide and assign. And then we have a modulus and assign. And as you can see, this just keeps going and going. So any mathematical function that we have, we can use the assignment operators with. And I'm going to stop there just because this video is going to get too long if I keep going over all of these. But you can explore and try out all of your mathematical functions with this add and assign and see how it performs.